George Kilpatrick Inspiration for the Nation, celebrating people we feel good about. At last, at last, we get London Ladd here on the program. London Ladd is an artist, he's an illustrator, he's a muralist. If you drive down South Salina Street and you see Frederick Douglass on one side and you see Martin Luther King Jr. on the other side, that's this brother's work right here. And it's fitting that as part of the Martin Luther King Jr. celebration, the art gallery that will be taking place next Sunday as part of the Martin Luther King Jr. 39th celebration at the JMA Wireless Dome. It's funny, I've been listening to my conversations and I slip back and forth between the other branded name of that facility, and it might happen tonight. Charge it to my head, not to my heart. JMA, I know y'all paid some money for me to remember that, but you know, it's been 25 years of the other thing or more. 35 years of that other name. Wait, almost 40 years. All right, forget about that. But London Ladd, certainly his books have made history all across this country. But he's our own London Ladd from right here in Syracuse. And so we're excited to have you here, London. And I'm excited to talk about the work. You'll be signing some of your books. Let's hold up some of the books that you'll be signing at the so let me tell you, before you hold those books up, let me just tell folks that at 4:15 with your dinner ticket, the art gallery as part of the Martin Luther King Jr. second year that they've done this will be open, and local artists will be there to share their works. And so London is one of them. London, let's see one of the books you will have for sale that you will assigned books.
Yeah, this one it's called You So Black. It's based on a poem by
Hold that
Teresa
up there, brother.
Crawford.
Hold it up so we can see it. Yeah, love it. Go ahead.
That it's just based on a poem. It was by this poet named Teresa the Songbird, who in 2019 she did her poem at the Bounce Awards, and it went viral, and it eventually became this book. So I am responsible for the artwork that's in this book. So you see a lot of it just really takes something that's a negative, which is like you so black, that you this or you that, which used to be something more probably negative, and it turns it into, you so black, you so black, when you smile, the stars come out. You so black, when you're born, the God comes out.
Mm.
So it's just every page is just filled with, affirmations about the beauty of blackness. And what I love about this book is it's not just African American. This goes across the oceans. This goes across to other countries. Anybody who is of color, anybody who is black can understand and relate to this book. So for me, it was important to really make this book beyond the borders. So
Mm.
anybody who feels like, wants to really reaffirm their blackness in that book, like, then that's what that book is about.
And then you have another book.
Yep. And this one is Black Gold. And this one, um, is a beautiful story. It was just basically about creation and about a mother's love and about what she's speaking into her child and how beautiful her child is, and that the universe and her creation and the uniqueness that he or she is as the child. So I think it's like a really triune, where it has really the mother, the child, and the universe are all kind of in one relation with each other. It's a great story. They're both amazing projects that I'm, so happy to be doing, because, I've been illustrating books since 2007.
Mm.
And for me to be illustrating books still, it's been a long journey, because I've been lucky enough to kind of get into this business of, primarily I'm a children's book illustrator, even though I do editorial stuff and murals and magazines and stuff. But my first love is picture books, and to be doing it so long, I'm really thankful for the tenacity to really be doing this, and the favor that I have been given with people believing in me for projects and trusting my vision for these words, these sacred words that these authors have written. Um, and I just cannot be any more grateful. But I feel like I'm in this renaissance of my career because it's funny you talk about the mural. Around that time of the like around 2016, 2017, I was in a really bad place and I just wasn't feeling creative and I didn't know if I want to do this anymore because I just feel like I wasn't the work that I was doing was I really enjoyed it, but it really didn't feel like it was me and my the way I create. So it's like I took some time away and some personal things happened, but when I was contracted to do that mural was when I did those murals in 2018 in that summer, I was in a place that was so vulnerable that I just didn't want to create. But to me, coming out every day for 6 weeks, 5 to 6 days a week, and doing that those murals mean a lot to me because where I am now and the way I'm creating now, those murals made it possible for me to be here and to still keep creating.
What happened that you lost yourself in the creativity of your work?
Well, I think the one thing is when you look at the early part of my career, like when I did my first debut book, which is March On, The Day My Brother Martin Changed the World, written by Christine King Ferris, the late Christine King Ferris. Um,
And she's the sister of Dr. Martin Luther
yeah,
King Jr.
she's
Yeah.
the oldest sister, she was. And doing that, and then the books that followed all the way up until like Midnight Teacher, that I was kind of stuck into the civils,
Hmm.
which was the civil rights era and the Civil War era. Slavery and the civil rights era. So it was like I was felt like I was really locked in,
Hmm.
and I wanted to do more work that was much more expressive and a much more contemporary, something for the now, something that can kind of transcend just this day. I wanted to do books that were like really uplifting of Black representation and Black empowerment and Black excellence. So that was like I wasn't getting those projects and I had to kind of step away. And by stepping away, it was a big risk. Thankfully, I had a great agent who let me create. And then I went back to grad school. That was another thing. I'm at Syracuse University. And that just allowed me that space to really figure out what do I want to do.
And so you found your calling. London Ladd. He's an illustrator, artist, um, muralist, editorial person. You get called to do all these different things, and but what I learned about you is, it's kind of an emotional for me when I think about you. Just have a passion for Black representation in art. Talk to me about that passion and where that comes from.
Well, the thing where it really comes from is because I always felt like I wasn't Black enough.
Mm,
Because my mother, she's white, my dad, Black. So the way that I speak, the way that my hair looked, it was something that I never felt Black enough for the longest part of my life. Um, so when I got into my 40s and I'm still dealing with that identity, like that, where am I Black enough? Am I Black enough? So when I was doing my thesis, it was on Black representation, and I needed to kind of really come to grips by talking to other, you know, Blacks, African American, anybody about identity and representation, and I was amazed at how other African Americans like they really feel at some point they don't feel Black enough. And I was like, okay, so I'm not alone in this. And
mm,
really kind of digging into that research and doing my thesis on it and writing 6,000 words on representation. For me, I felt so relieved in the sense that I am. I am Black. I am Black enough. I am more than. And so I wanted that to shine through in my art. So
hmm
when you see like in You So Black, and the like I love the pages in there because I wanted to show, the beauty of blackness. And I think this poem embodies it, when it talks about black as pyramids and mathematic, black is melanized in magic, just seeing, you know, how blacks go and everything that we laid our hand in is in excellence. And that's what I wanted my work to show. So if when you see like on my website and you see like a lot of the work that I do,
LondonLad.com.
yes, yeah, londonlad.com, look in the mixed media section and you see just a lot of black joy. I don't want to deal, I don't think it's necessary for my career. And this is not to say for any other black artist, black illustrator, somebody who's doing the works, because we all got to, what we do is what we do in our career. But at this juncture in my career, I want joy. I want to see black joy. I want to have the black experience through my lens and through what I see to kind of emit through the art. So whenever I go to like book festivals or schools and I talk to somebody and I listen to people and just to hear them say, I see my cousin in your book. I see this book really speaks to me. That's the greatest thing that I could hear for me because it makes me feel good that yes, it's working.
Was this identity about your struggle or what other people made you feel? Just, am I black enough?
That's a good question. Oh, I think as a kid, others, because kids are kids, sometimes if you're a little different, they're gonna call you out on it. So if they see me and my mom, she was as white could be, and she dressed me, the best way she could, and had my hair grown out and would part it, and it made me speak a certain way and act a certain way, and I was just like, so when I wanted to make her proud and do what she said, the kids in the neighborhood, because I grew up in the valley, like right off of Seneca Drive,
Right.
like the longest time. Sometimes here we bounced around throughout Syracuse. You would be called out, like, I would get called an Oreo or a zebra because there's like, you're black and white. They just didn't understand. So I just felt so less than. And it carried on through middle school and high school. And it sometimes what happened as an adult and, as a young adult, I would deal with it. But, you know, after a while, it became so ingrained in me that I didn't feel black enough. And then
And
just, mm,
and is that something so, and was it that black folk didn't accept you, or was it that white folk made you, like, did you not have a home? Is that what you felt? Did you feel homeless to some
I,
extent?
I did. You know what? There were times where I did because the thing is, and it's funny, I said that in my thesis. That was in my introduction. I was like, I wasn't black enough for them, and I was not, and I was too dark for the other. So but I was accepted. I felt accepted still. Like even, with more white folks and black folks, I felt like comfortable to a degree, but I think some of those like wounds of the childhood really just made me feel a certain type of way about myself. And you know, as I get older and get out more and talk to more people and listen to more people, it's like we just all go through these struggles. And I think, I'm an only child. Uh, I come
So
from
siblings, right?
yeah, I don't have siblings to kind of lean on. And my family was very isolated. It was just me and my mom forever. So it was like,
Your
but
dad,
never met him. Not on my social security. He's not on my birth certificate or nothing. I don't even know he could walk through this door and I would not even know it was him.
is that
Uh,
part of it, you think,
yeah.
identity wise? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because what I was thinking is, oh, well, don't you have, cousins and things of that nature where some of that, but what's interesting, I'm asking you this because the gift that you give us out of your own identity crisis is this beautiful expression of all of the different shades of who we are and all of our glory and all of our uniqueness, right? And
Hmm.
so in some ways, would it could be said that God chose you in that struggle in order for the expression of that struggle to be illustrated in all these wonderful books.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. It to hear that means a lot because it's funny when I do work on, like, even if I'm doing personal stuff like sketchbook stuff, personal stuff, just to kind of like just to kind of have fun, be creative, or if I'm doing books, I'm always trying to find the soul within, especially the eyes,
Mm,
the subtle expression. Even on the cover of Black Gold, the way it's a profile, but yet who is this person looking at? Like at this point of the book, the child is speaking, and the child is speaking to someone. It could be, you don't know if you when you read the book, and I'll actually go to the page. And I love the page because it's like as if like an affirmation to themselves and to whoever is there, whoever that you think as the reader that they are talking to. Because like it says right here on the page here where the cover is, it says, when they ask where you come from, tell them, I am from a place that is rich, dark, and full of everything that gives life. I was kissed by the sun, cradled by the moon, and wrapped in love.
mm,
And like as you can see, the child's mouth is partially open, so it's speaking an utterance.
mm,
And you can see like even in the profile, they're not looking at you, but they're looking off and
mhm,
they're speaking too. So I think that is like when I do books, like I just did a book on Murray Evers
mm,
Williams,
mhm. She's
and
former president of
the NAACP, Medgar
NAACP.
Evers' widow, just an
Medgar
amazing
Evers' widow.
woman.
Yes, 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 yes.
And the thing is, like, there's like, and I use that as an example, with Black Gold and even You So Black, like I gotta feel it in the work.
Yeah.
Like if I gotta keep working on something to make sure that I get an emotional response from it.
This is what your quote is. Art comes from an emotional place, spills from the deepest parts of my spirit and poured into the work I create for the people to see themselves with pride, strength, dignity, perseverance, and power. That's what you
Yeah,
said. Your
yeah,
words. And
yeah,
that's what you're saying.
yeah. And that's what it has to be, when the projects that I take, the projects that I accept, like even if they're editorial jobs, like they got to speak. Even like there was this one image. It was based on a book, Parish, that was deals with family, like a matriarch who is dying, and the family is around, and they're dealing with each other as much as her eventual passing, and that comes from my own experience dealing with my own mother's passing, and
Mm,
understanding, like it's like a topical view of you're looking down as this person is in their final moments and the family is around her, surrounding her. And I think, I could have said no to that project, but it spoke to my heart and I couldn't say no to it. And what I created was something that was very emotive. So the projects, even if they're editorial projects, like they gotta mean something and have value. The projects that I accept, again, like the Murley one, that was not even a no-brainer, to really tell her story. I did a book on that's coming out later this year about black hair,
mm,
and talking to black people about their hair and just how much of an identity it is. So each page of that book talks about different aspects of black hair, and I got to make sure it's that it's not just pictures, that there's something that's meaningful in that. And even if I have to not make my deadlines and I have to ask for more time because I need to get it right.
mm.
Like I'm doing a book on spirituals right now, and that's spirituals. I mean, it does. Whew, it's
You're right. You got to go there. You got to go
yeah.
there. You got to absolutely go there and really that has to come from, right?
Mhm.
It's not
Yeah,
just blah 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 blah.
yeah,
No, you got to be guided with that.
right. It is. It
I
is.
mean, I'm just assuming. I'm going with what I feel you're saying. I
Yeah,
I feel
exactly.
what you're saying.
Yeah, because there's a picture right back there. You can't see it. I think it's off to the side over here. There's a page. Like I was like really stuck because it was like they wanted us like a slave era scene, and I'm like, I don't want to go to. I cannot. I need to like not do slave. But then I had somebody suggest like, why don't you do a slave revolt? And I was
Mm.
like, yes. So it was like this page is like, oh God, when I see the page, it's sitting there half done, and you know what? I'm gonna show you. You know, I gotta show you. So, you know, but like whenever I start do this page, and you kind of can
Ah, yes.
see right here, and here's the sketch right down here
Uh-huh.
of the revolt, and like this is like just a reference because I
So,
just
so
love
the
the way
sketch is in black and white. Is that how it starts? Obviously.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. So it starts in like black and white, and the thing is, it's like that right there, that guttural, that scream, because like the spiritual that this is invoking is like, oh freedom, oh freedom over me. And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free.
Mm.
I couldn't imagine in that revolt, like there's no going back. Like we are not slaves anymore. It's freedom or death, pretty much.
Yeah.
And that scene, like when I see this scene, I was like, I love this scene so much. It's gonna take me a few weeks to really, because I gotta go into like a really deep place for this to get that scream and that like right there, that holler, that almost like
And you chose a woman.
yes,
You chose
yes. You
a
noticed
woman.
that, huh?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
And I know there's a whole lot of reasons for that.
oh, my mama's boy. I can't help it. Yes. I got a
Yeah.
daughter. Yes, I like women, yes, the power of women. We are secondary. I'm sorry. My books, you'll see like they're more gender specific.
You're
Uh,
giving you're it's in so what wow, this really speaks to me. What I'm feeling you say is that you're almost giving black women the power they never had in some ways.
I'm just reaffirming the power that they have.
The power that they have. But like truth, right? Thank you for that redirect, right?
Mhm.
Reaffirming the power that they have and demonstrating that. Because now when I think about it, right, you never there are not many, well, I don't want to say there's not many, but the more images of revolt, that's also affirming, right? Because it's not just that we had to take it. There were lots of people always planning and figuring out how are we gonna get to the other side.
Mhm.
And so we had to survive in some way. Wow, London, you deep, bruh. You deep. I want to go back to this question of not. I just want to comment on what you said about identity, right? And are you black enough? And that's a conversation that transcends even it transcends biracial identity because it's also about what does it mean to be black, right?
Mhm.
Is it food? Is it culture? Is it mannerisms? Is it a certain place and time and live? What is it, right? And to
Mhm.
me, there's certain cultural familiarities, but like but then if you look at class and status, not everybody's experiencing the same thing, right? So
Mhm.
to me, it's like faith, it's food, it's culture, it's all of the above. And this is what I will say to anybody who's watching and listening. There's no one way to be black. Okay? So you as black as you want to be, doing whatever you want to do. So whether I'm an equestrian, whether I'm a swimmer, I could do anything I want to do. And because I'm in this skin, it's black. Okay? That's how I see it. Now,
Right.
y'all might have some other things to say about that, but I don't feel like there's one way to be black. And I think throughout sometimes it gets categorized into one thing as if everybody's had that one kind of experience. There's some similar experiences. Now, look, I know what I need to hear and feel in church. I'm gonna just tell you, I go to church. I know what I want to feel when I go.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Right? I want it to be black. And that doesn't mean I don't love the faith of the faith and is universal. I got that. But certain things I just want to hear. I want to
Yeah.
hear that. I want to hear
Mm-hmm.
I want to hear Mother hum and sing, and anyway, that's good enough. What we talking about with London Ladd here is the fact that during the Martin Luther King Jr. celebration, which will take place next Sunday or this Sunday coming up, the 21st, the doors open at 4:15 for the art gallery. Folks like London will be there to sell. They'll have books for sale. They'll have signed books for sale, other prints and other things. And you get to do that as part of your dinner ticket, mlk.syr.edu. Hurry up. Your ticket for your dinner gets you entrance into the art gallery. Now, if you don't go to the dinner, you just want to go to the free program, which starts at 7 o'clock, but the doors open at 6. Sorry, you don't get to go in the art gallery and you don't get to meet London. So listen, get your tickets, mlk.syr.edu for the MLK celebration. And London, just, before we go, I just want to get to how you got to be London Ladd, in this illustrator, and what that process was for you as a kid and how that talent was nurtured. Where do you train? And then when did you know you made it?
Let's see. We'll start out. Well, pretty much, I'm born and raised in Syracuse. Born in Crouse Hospital. Pretty much, I I went to the city school district, pretty much Meacham. Then I went to Delaware. Then I left for a year out into the suburbs, but came back and went to Clary, Corcoran, class of '91, OCC. Got my associates there. That's where I really started to kind of do art, like study art. I did it a little bit in high school at Corcoran, but OCC is where I really said maybe I want to do this. Transferred to Syracuse University. Took me a while to get my degree there. Graduated in 2006. Lived life, the ups and downs of the career. Again, published books. I could say that I've had a lot of I'm in the double digits of published books. There's a lot of people who had not even had one book. And I've been in the New York Times, which is a dream job, and there's so many other great publications that I've been a part of. And then I decided to go back to grad school in 2019 because I just wanted to just do more art. I just needed to really learn, be a student again, and learn and just kind of strip down creatively. And then I got my MFA in 2022. And I really, I'm just about, I think where I know I made it is when I'm getting the projects that I've always dreamed of.
Mhm.
And my schedule, I'm busy for the next 2 years, to next 3 years, pretty much. I'm busy into 2025. So I'm very happy. I'm doing projects that I can only dream of. Again, I mentioned Murley Evers, doing that book, doing a book on black hair, doing book on poetry based on poetry. I'm doing a book on spirituals, and I'm teaching up at the university, which is great. I
Is that
love
why
it.
you went back for your MFA?
To teach?
Hmm.
No, no, actually, believe it or not, this is like I went back basically because I needed to learn. Like again, if you look at the work in like my early work, like the Frederick Douglass book, the Oprah book that I did, you look at that work, it's completely different than the recent books.
Did you see what you just did there? The
Hmm.
Oprah book. You just kind of glossed over the fact that you did the Oprah book.
Yeah, but I like the work that was done in those early books. They were part of my journey to here, and
Hmm.
what I want to do even more. I mean,
What changed techniques wise because you now want to refine your talent? How did the lines change? How did your perspective change? How did you become a better artist because you went to training? Because some people would say my free hand and my instinct is all I need, but you wanted to refine that. So what changed for you?
I stopped being afraid.
Mm.
I let fear dictate me. When I was getting all the books in the civil rights and the Civil War era, I was comfortable and afraid to step out of that. And then I got trapped in it and I became more afraid. And I guess it wasn't until my mother's passing in 2019 that I was like, that was the last family that I really had. I mean, I have aunts and uncles, but we don't talk as much. I love them, but we don't talk. There's not much communication. So it's pretty much when my mom passed, that was pretty much my whole family, except for my daughter.
Hmm.
So I had to push fear aside and just like, you know what, go to grad school. It's going to cost money, but to make money, you got to spend money. So I think the biggest thing is being more fearless. Um, and by not be even the stuff that I'm doing now, like what I'm trying to do with the spirituals book, what I'm trying to do in this book on the Gullah Geechee people, the gathering table, with the stuff that I'm doing in these books, like I'm spending a lot of time just thinking about what I'm gonna do, and then like there's a post-it that's on above my easel over there that says no fear. So I got to look at that every time I get fearful and feel like I can't, this is too much. I look up at that and no fear, and then just go forward and just try things out and see where they work. And if they work, great. If they don't, on to the next one. And not being afraid to fail. Not afraid, and I don't think it's failure, just like setbacks, and not to really be somebody that lets fear guide them in ways that takes them out of their calling or their destiny or anything.
What is your calling and what inspires you in that calling?
What is it? What inspired? What is my call? Oh goodness. I I would. It's so easy to say yes. I want to do. I think my. I believe my. That's a good question. You stumped me. You got me stumped there. My
So then
call.
what inspires you then?
Hmm.
What inspires you?
What inspires me is to really do work that make sure that my work comes from my heart and from a genuine place from my heart. That's probably that would be it. Because if it doesn't, if I'm struggling and it doesn't come from that deep place, because that's the what comes from my heart pushes me through any fear or roadblocks that may hinder my journey.
And finally, London, how has your finding yourself in your identity as a Black man helped to inform the art you do now?
Oh, with confidence. It's just giving me confidence, an understanding of myself and where I stand and where who I am to me and where that's what it matters the most. That I am more, like I said before, I said I am more than enough. And I think knowing that I'm much more confident in what I do and how I live my life and how I create, how I teach, how I choose to love the people in my life, who do I choose to be friends with. It comes from a place full of confidence, joy, and love and appreciation and respect. So I think with that it's pretty much, and again, it's that fine line of confidence and arrogance, but it's got to keep that sense of humility with that confidence. Um, and I really think that that's probably the key to my longevity and my success.
Get to meet London Ladd again next Sunday, 4:15. The gallery opens at the JMA Wireless Dome. You can order your tickets for the Martin Luther King Jr. 39th Annual Celebration. Keynote speakers Dr. Talithia Williams, and you can have a wonderful time meeting some great artists. MLK.syr.edu, londonlad.com. to see London's illustrations and his work. And man, London, long time coming,
Yeah.
but we're glad that we had a chance. We did have you on WCNY back in the day, but that was back in the day. Glad to see you again here on Inspiration for the Nation. Keep up the good work. And before we go, the name of that book, You So Black, who was the author of that?
Teresa the Songbird.
Teresa the Songbird. And,
Yep.
and then is she the one that actually did the poem? Did this
Yep.
on you said it was on the Bounce Awards, you said?
Yeah, like if you go to YouTube and you type in You So Black, Teresa the Song, and just look at the live one from the award show. Woo, you hear that. The thing is, when I heard her do that, I was like, I had to tell. So I think I told my daughter, I was like, how am I gonna represent? How am I gonna get the blackness that she emitted out? How am I gonna show that in my work? But I really feel like I'm so happy with the results. Yeah,
And
it's a great book. I love them very much. His books.
London Ladd, somebody we feel good about here on Inspiration for the Nation. Thank you.
Thank you.